Hi, Davi here, and today we have a new episode in the art review series. And today we'll be doing a special episode. It's a Sunday special, and essentially we're doing a sort of a rundown, a run through, an overview of some of the images that I've sort of placed in my PureRef file for the week. And I'm actually proud of myself because I did not binge as much. So, because usually I have a bad habit of, like, once I see one photo, I start, because Pinterest will recommend you, not just Pinterest, but Twitter, pretty much all social media. They will recommend the stuff that you like, or that you bookmark, or that you engage with. So you get more of the thing you actually want to see. But the thing is, if you're someone who's like me and you like everything, or a lot of things, it's a never-ending cycle. But thankfully, I was able to hold myself. Pinterest does give me, like, it sends emails of posts that or it gives recommendations to my email, and I did a good job of not opening those emails. I actually opened a good bunch of them today, and I basically cleared out that kind of email. I think it's in the promotions tab. So I'm glad that I was able to sort of compartmentalize or have time to just explore, and that day being today, and not when I'm trying to work. So let's start with the inks first. So sometimes I do add their name. No, thankfully, I actually don't need to add this name because it's already in their artwork. But I remember seeing this specific piece, and their portfolio actually does not. What's their name again? TD Din. It's on the Twitter. I found this on X or Twitter. And this is not the bulk of their portfolio. Only recently have they been doing this sort of black and white look with some grayscale value. It's not shading, but it's the kind of stuff you see in manga, which I do like. Although the rendering style reminds me a little bit of that Mateo guy. I think his name is Mateo. He did the framed ink book, and I like the way he draws. It's very dynamic. And he likes to use this sort of ellipse brush that's sort of fixed in one position. And Lan here is sort of giving the same vibes, which I do like. So I believe these are Chainsaw Man. It looks like Chainsaw Man to me. Or maybe not. But yeah, I do like the way it's so dynamic. Right? For example, if you look at this part of the dress, it's in black, right? But you can add the whites later on. And that's the cool thing about... yeah, you can do this traditionally with like a white ink or a whiteout pen, but obviously way faster to do this digitally. And I do like it's sort of very fluid. It's not a kind of line work that's so tight and thin. It's very bold. There are thin lines, but it seems so organic to me. Like the way it's shaded, the way it's rendered. Because sometimes I'll see artworks where they have the line work, but the way, like, they have a different phase for shading and ink, and sometimes it doesn't really match as well. But it feels like for these types, these two especially, it just looks natural, and that gray value, mid value, it just works. And you don't need much variety in terms of values. Like you can get away with just having one gray value, white and black. Oh, look at the edge right here. Look at how they added this white thing on the side to sort of let the character pop out more, to sort of separate themselves from the octopus thingy or tentacles. And look at how the rendering or the line work, the shading gets a bit more refined with the character, but as you go to the octopus tentacle things, it does get a little more sketchy. So you do see it adds a bit of that focus, like you're more likely to be focused here. First of all, it's a character, so we tend to focus on people anyway, or faces, human faces. But also the detail helps to sort of aid that focus, right? Adding the white out here, right? And I think they're just using one pen, which is so cool. So I want to do more of this, or try this. It's so freaking cool, guys. Check out their work. Right, Din. So we have a few ink sketches here. Oh, by the way, I think for this guy right here, these two things, I think I found them on Twitter, so I'm gonna be doing an art review of a dedicated episode for their work, but I do like it. It's a lot. This one is like a Jujutsu Kaisen fan art, very minimalistic line work, lots of bleeds in the ends. Really my thing here, right? It's a great way to kind of capture the gesture. I mean, you can tell just by the way the hair is. This is a character in Jujutsu Kaisen. It's the guy who has eye bags, who's so tired looking. Who's sort of the bay of the boyfie of kind of boyfie of the hot chick with the glasses. I forgot her name. The one who fights with the staff usually. And like she can't see spirits, but like she needs like physical, spiritually sort of enhanced items, but she has like this, she compensates with her like dominant sort of strength. This is I believe Yoji Shinkawa, right? So this artist is from it's the same artist here, right? Very gestural line work. I mean, look at that. And you're not even using lines for everything. Some parts are suggested, some parts are just, it's not even line work, it's like a black shape, right? Even the sides or the corners of this sort of what do you call this thing? Cart. The shoes, the way the reflections were shown. I mean, perfect. There's no shading, quote unquote shading, but even the way that hand was drawn, that's so sexy. It's very, like in one moment it's gonna be smooth, and then in other points it's gonna be like a sharp point. I mean, look at the tonsils here already. The Adam's apple. It's so, yeah. The tie, the folds, perfect. I found this, I believe, on Pinterest. I just like the way it's shaded. Even if you zoom out, it looks cool seeing this sort of thing. The rendering is a bit different. It seems a bit stable. Like I don't see super wild strokes. You do see some hatching, but they kind of go with the form. Reminds me of, who's the classic artist? He's a well-known artist who does this sort of like very thin lines. Not much variety in line weight, but like he's a famous one. His work is very sort of fantastic, magical, and a lot of people reference their or find him as an inspiration. I think it's French or something. I don't know, some kind of European something. Anyway, this one is kind of the same thing as here, right? This one, I'm not sure who did this, but it's a cool sketch, right? You have some line work, but you can demonstrate the figure or show some edges with negative space. So instead of using like a line, you just use sort of a black and white contrast to show the edge. But I do like it. Very minimal, very demure. This one, it does have some grayscale, but I do like the inks. And recently I have been really into the whole black fill-ins thing, where a portion of the artwork is going to be just black. I'm sort of digging that look a little bit. Maybe it's because of my influence, or I am sort of fascinated by manga art, comic art. They're not afraid to add in some just, black spots or shapes. It just adds a bit of that punch to your work. I did an art review of this person. I forgot their name, but very dynamic. Oh, look at those abs. Damn, so hot. This one is Nemri something. I forgot their full name, but it's Nemrini. I think they work, or they're associated with Super Annie. That's my, if I recall. I think they do this traditionally, and then they scan it or take a photo. Yeah, and they do like using this sort of rake-like thing. I'm not sure if it's actually the guy, but it looks like his work. So again, look at those black parts, those black fill-ins, and then some sort of rake-like brushes, along with I'm guessing the initial sort of gestural contour lines here. Very gestural, very smooth, very watery, very fluid. And it's sort of similar to this piece as well, right? If you look, let's just zoom in here. If you look at the pants, hopefully you can see it. Look at the pants. I mean, they do have a tone underneath, like a texture thing, but that could have been like gray or whatever. But you have some spots over here. Can I show you my? You have some spots over here and here where it's actually just pure black, right? And some white sort of whiteouts. But with that, you have areas where you have the tone, but it's complemented with these sorts of rake brushes. I think that's pretty cool. I think it really works well for like manga and comics using this sort of rake brush thing, because it's like a way to save time hatching. Look at that. It's so cool to look at. And the line work here, if you look at the rest of the line work, it's not very, you don't see much line variety in terms of weight. It's more like a TechPen solid line. It doesn't even have bleeds. It's more stable looking, right? Like a very stable gel pen, because there are gel pens that just bleed. But this is a cool thing here. And I love this sort of variety of, look at that. You have some black here, some white out, some rake brushes. It's such a full, interesting, even if you just zoom in here, it's so interesting to just look at, essentially. So let's move around here. Oh, I forgot this guy's name. He's like a famous guy, Alex. Is it Alex? He does a lot of these paintings too, but also ink sketches. I forgot their name. I did an archive of their work as well. I believe I watched this anime. She's sort of although I did spot that, but I do like the way, because I was thinking, you know what if I'm able to do this with the lasso fill, right? I think that would look so cool, like these sort of shadow thingies here. Because I think I can draw them quickly with the lasso fill tool. That's so freaking cool. I mean, look at the fold, look at the hair. Like you can save so much time using like again, since I'm into the whole black fill-in things, where a portion of the artwork is going to be just pure black. No, this one, it doesn't have as much. Maybe here, but yeah. Oh, the thing about the lasso fill is whenever you do this actual like delicate line work, it is kind of hard. So maybe I can complement that with some actual ink brushes instead. Yeah, it's great for like big shapes, getting down or stuff down quickly, but for details sometimes I do have a hard time. I need to find a way or a technique to be able to do that. And your ink work can be like this. It doesn't have to be like this refined, right? It can be somewhat messy, brushy. Look at that. It's so raw, so real, right? I mean, Kim Jong-gi also has the same thing, right? Where he uses a brush pen, or used to RIP. But yeah, it looks cool. I do like the blue in the background. It's you know that look of having like black and then white and then one sort of special color. It's a cool combination. It has a very dry brush look too. The black parts. I saw this on the Pinterest. I just like the thumbnails. I mean, look at how cool these things are. Like, even if it's unrefined, obviously it's a thumbnail. Like, you can imagine so much from it. Like, it can lead to so many different ideas, right? And to be honest, I haven't been doing any of this at all, and I think I'm missing out on, like, because if you can draw a figure like this in this sort of small frame or perspective, it's gonna be easier to draw it big as well, because you can solve so many problems in this sort of view, right? So thumbnails, I think I need to do that for my personal practice sessions. And I think it's gonna benefit me a lot. And I can do like a bunch of it, right? Because these things will take time. A fuller illustration with inks will take time. But if I can do like a sheet of this a day, I mean, or even just like well, yeah, one sheet a day or bare minimum. I think I can gain something from that. So that's for the inks, mostly for the inks. Let me move on to, yes, guys, fair warning, there's some AI. Oh no. And if there's something that sucks about it, it's hard to reference the real artist, obviously, because there is no name behind it. And even if I don't think these people will actually want to share their prompts, who knows, but again, the reason why these ones attracted me is because of these parts. Look at this. These black fill-ins, this big, cool silhouette shapes. It's something is happening to me in terms of my spiritual artistic soul when I see this. These big shapes are complemented by or contrasted by even smaller sort of black fill-ins, right? And look at how it helps you focus. More detail here, and as you go further out, the shapes do get a bit like chunkier and bigger. Now, I'm guessing this is AI, guys. I don't even know. But if this is not AI, I'm sorry, guys. Maybe your artwork is just too good. But, the ring is kind of off, so I'm guessing it is AI. I don't even know. Because we usually would look for the hands, right? Because I can tell if that's an easy giveaway, but you can fix that nowadays for some people. And I also like the way the shapes, the edges, like it's look at how it goes like smooth and then sharp, very quick sort of dynamic sort of line work, right? By the way, the pen tool here on PureRef, it's too strong, the stabilization. Hopefully they can fix or give us options to adjust, because it's just to adjust it, because it's just too like strong. But yeah, I just do like the big black. I'm so gooned out, guys. I'm so sorry. Let me just go back. The big fill-ins. There's a reason why I said fill-in, because I've noticed I kept saying. Anyway, I'll stop. I like the way the overall shape, especially if you look at the line work or the proportions of the figure. It's like one moment is like straight, and then it can become smooth and then sharp. Like there's that sort of push and pull in terms of quickness, which is like it's a balance of being sharp but sort of smooth. Sharp and smooth. Yeah. Right? Like it doesn't look like a slow piece. You know what I mean? Like it looks like it was not done super fast, but there's some edge to their work, right? And it ends up looking kind of cool. So if you look at here, same thing. If you look at the hand, it's like straight, and then a bit, maybe straight again, and then maybe a smooth thing here. It looks kind of graphical. Now this one actually does have a way more straight lines, but yeah. And even the way the glass sort of thing is done, seeing multiple shapes here, I think I'm really getting into like shape design here, or graphic design. I think graphic designers have an edge here. Yeah. Same thing here. I do like the sort of pointy look to stuff. Anyway, this one's kind of different. I'm not sure if this is AI. Maybe not. I don't think so. It looks kind of legit. But I do like the variety. It's so playful, very colorful, and I want to play around in this kind of way, right? And it looks fun. I don't. The line work is very minimal here. Maybe an initial sketch, but yeah, I'm not sure how to describe this sort of. It's very diverse. Lots of variety here. The colors it's sort of fashion coded or fashion adjacent. But I do see a lot of shapes, and they're not just solid. Maybe the base ones are, but there are some texture there. Some watercolor textures, some paper textures maybe. But it's a very playful, fun, wild sort of piece. Even if it's just a person literally just sort of looking at you straight on. You can, like, that whole thing is complemented by the sort of wild sort of clothing, and obviously the hat, right? And everything here is sort of kept simple. Perfect. Let's go here at the top. I just like this. I want to be able to like study this sort of faces, because I'm not good with faces, right? So like it's supposed to be like a circle. Like I don't even know how far the head goes in the back. But obviously these topics like this, where it's like an anime chick who's a nun, is I think my first introduction to anime chicks who are nuns is from the anime Fire Force. The blonde chick, oh god. Kawaii. She's so hot. Anyway, Yeah. So by the way, when you have like when I download AI, sometimes I study the face. I mean, yeah, because you will know anyway if the face is wrong or fucked up. For example, if the hand is fucked up a little bit, then why would you study it? You know. So I kind of get why people sort of warn people from using AI, because I think for beginners, for absolute beginners, obviously you can tell what's wrong. But if you're someone like me who has some kind of experience, even if you're in the intermediate level, you kind of just want to know how far the eye is, you know, what's the general shape, and you just want to get a gist, then just take something like this. You don't have to be so not uptight, but just totally ignore it. So I think we've discussed a couple of things here, so let's move on. Let's look at this. We're going back or extending from that. This is some work from Madao. I think I've done an art review of the work in the past. But I do like the shapes, the strong sort of shapes. Big shapes, right? And the line work is actually like a pencil. It's not even that like tight, but it's very strong, very energetic, very powerful, very non-demure. It's just bold. And I do like how they leave the lines in. It just adds a bit of that raw vibe to it, right? But I think my takeaway from Madao's work, Dao, it's the big shapes, right? Very dynamic, very sort of expressive. Just like fuck, boom, right? And he has a lot of these. I think it's E. Just check out Madao. Never-ending artwork of yeah. And I also like the way they paint, because it's it's all, I think they're painting within a clipping mask, right? Or a clipped layer. You'll notice there is some variety in terms of the values when they do start adding in the renders. It's a bit subtle, but it's not just one color. I mean, it's still under one hue usually to keep it simple, but there is some variety in terms of value. Like, for example, this is like a blue-gray, right? But there are many kinds of blue-grays in terms of value. And if you look at the brushwork, they do like to add a bit of that chaos. So they add a bit of like brush variety, just a little bit of texture. But the main thing here, if you just zoom out, it's the dynamic sort of pose. Oh wow. So we have a woman here. Damn, look at them legs. Yeah. Reminds me a little bit of Heu, HEUU __. Right? Look at how loose this is. Look at how energetic. It's just super strong. And they do spend some time actually rendering underneath a little bit, and I think it pays off. Maybe they're using some kind of gradient as well. Oh, I do see a bit of noise texture. Noise texture. But again, look at this is all, guys. This is all a green, right? This is all green. But you do see a lot of like, first of all, there is a pattern, so it makes sense. But within that whole green thing, in her clothing, there's a lot of like different variations of that. This one's kind of a yellow, right? A yellow green or yellow brown thing. But there's so many. Obviously, the design is there to show the different parts. But within each part, there's like a subtle. You see the reflections, the shadows, right? But look at the line work. Is it like super tight? I don't think so, but at least when you do see the color here, the energy sort of still remains. So maybe that's why they're leaving in the line or the very loose line sketch, because it can happen when you start inking it. You sort of lose the energy a little bit. So this is the point here is strong, dynamic, powerful shapes, right? Bold shapes, like a pow. And it's very big. Like, it does take up like a big space. It's not like they're trying to show the silhouette game is pretty good. Basically, if you take away all the colors, all the lines, and you just see everything as one big shape, it's very interesting to look at. So here, let's move on to some more defined stuff, more rendered. This one's AI. So this one is doesn't have. Let me just drink some coffee because I'm kind of thirsty. This one doesn't have a signature, sadly, but I like their work. Pretty cool. Not much texture, but I do like the variety. The design is pretty cool. Very solid design. Like, it's interesting enough. The color palette is there. I'm not sure if this is like a fan art or OC original character, but yeah, the brush here is just like a plain round brush with maybe they added a texture in the end, right? Sort of like a filter thing, but oh, look at the face. Look at the eyes. Very cute. Looks like this guy belongs in the how do you call it in the last Airbender, the Earth Kingdom? Am I saying it right? The Earth Kingdom, because they wear green, right? Pretty cool. I like the long hair stuff. And is this a wolf cut or something? I don't know. Pretty cool. Here we have a signature, I think, but I don't know what that means. But look at that. Look at the, oh, there's so much going on here. It's so crazy, but I like it. It could be considered distracting, but to me, it's giving. I like it. Could this be AI? I don't even know. Maybe. I don't know. Is this even a word? Oh God, I'm not even gonna bother. But yeah, so basically for these kinds of, artworks, I do like. I did download them because of the kind of the detail involved there. Like, I see more, some not rendering, but maybe a rendering, but more details, more intricate stuff involved. This one, I think I did an art review with this guy, although this is a recent work. It's Delete something. I do like their work. Very. Look at the pencil sort of strokes here. They left it in. And even the way this is colored, I mean, you can still see the brush strokes. I can even see some rake brushes here being used. And then I think they dominate in the lighting of it, right? And they're adding this. I think one of you mentioned that this is called the Terminator line. Hopefully you're not effing with me. But I think it's called, according to this person, it's called the Terminator line. Terminator. Because that's where it terminates, where it stops or begins. And the reason why it's supposed to be red is because of the subsurface scattering, right? Apparently the light hits it and it goes through the skin a little bit, but I don't understand. Well, it makes sense because this is where the light is hitting it. So everything here in shadow is where the light is not hitting it. So the reason why it's more orange here is because that's where the light is meeting the dark. So that's where you see the sort of scattering of the light in the skin. So that's kind of my rough, uninformed understanding of the whole thing. But I do like the intricate. It's a bit more. This one's painted in. These are works by, I believe, Pablo Uchida, or Pablo Cafe on Twitter. I like. There's one more painting of their work of this anime as well. It's Gundam Hathaway. Gundam Hathaway. It's where it's not even a full finished painting, I think, but she's basically sort of sitting like this. That is her face. She has her knees here, like her foot is out. Obviously the feet. Oh my god. And then it's sort of a gray. Everything is sort of gray or something. One of my favorite pieces from Pablo. It makes me want to paint. You know what? Maybe I should do like a video or occasionally where I do share like my favorite art pieces that just. I need to have a board where I just look at it and it's a compilation of all of my favorite sort of artwork, artists. It's gonna be hard because I'm very influenced by a lot of people, but yeah, I think that will be fun. Look at that. So these are more, what's the word? Not deliberate, more intensive because there's way more strokes involved. It's gonna take probably more time. Things need to be fleshed out a little more. Oh, I think this is AI. I think I was supposed to put this one. Let me just put this one here. Again, I think it's the black fill-ins that they kind of like. Look at that. It's kind of glossy. Looks pretty cool. Anyway, let's move on to a different piece. Oh shit, I think I didn't see the art station of this guy. I'm gonna have to do an art review. I think their tab is open somewhere, but... So these are like studies or something. I do like the rendering. They're playing with the lighting a bit. Pretty cool. Right, the soft lighting, I think it works really well. And it has the realistic lighting effect. You know, it's not just like this. Let me just sit. It's not just like bold like this. It's a bit more rendered. 3D sort of thought about like how light affects this sort of 3D form, right? And this one, I just like the bold shapes here. Again, see? And I do like how people or these artists use their clothing as a way to complement their character as well. Like seeing the silhouette, the shape of that clothing or fabric, whether it's a jacket, a coat, or a dress, it can contribute to the character, right? And something about anime is learning how to frame the face with the hair. That's something that I've noticed, that they're very good at using the hair to sort of frame the face. So these are more, these feel more quickly done. No line work at all, very shape heavy, very bold. This one, it's a bit rendered, but I like it. I do like the shapes too. I mean, look at that. Oh, lots of, this is like a white, right? A brown. I'm just using basic terms here. But look at the variation of the shapes within that to describe the values, right? Maybe some hue variation here and there. Pretty cool. I don't see much line work here. This one's pretty cool too. I'm not sure who the artist is, but I do like it. Right? And I thought this was interesting because of, like, when you have a reference photo, you don't have to fully copy it. You can, I mean, it is just a reference. You can imagine that this thing from behind, right? So I guess that's what they were doing. And when you have reference photo, you don't have to copy it fully, you know? For example, they did make changes with the face. They wanted to face it more this way. In the photo, it's more at you, like looking. Kanjanara is like looking at you a little bit. They did keep pretty much they did make the shoulders a bit more dynamic compared to this. This one's more like more straight, almost like parallel to the ground, but this one is more skewed. They played with the fingers a bit, right? So I need to get used to learning how to make these adjustments and not fully just do a 1:1 sort of copy. Oh, I think this one, I'm just guessing here, guys. This could be SE. 5, I think it's underscore and then 5 and then 3 E's. One of my favorite artists. I'm just guessing, maybe it's their work, but it's from the Witch anime, Witch, I forgot. But this is basically like she's sort of cursed. It's actually a he, I think, but he's inside a girl's body for some reason. By the way, I only know the anime, not really the manga, but... And this is like a super like pretty hot dude who's also a magician, witch guy. Well, he's not a witch, he's a magician or something. Magic person. Again, shapes, look at the, oh, look at the silhouette. It's all under a triangle. Oh. And I guess the colors look kind of bright here. Not bright, but playful. More, not cartoony, but just more bright. Not, or vivid. Is vivid the word? It seems like it's energetic. That's what I mean. Here we have a sketch. I just thought it was cool. It's very raw, clearly unfinished, but I mean, do you have to be, it would look great, sure, if it were like developed more, but even with sketches like this, I do like it because it shows like you can feel what's going on right now. It's them suffering. Maybe they're trying to work out the design or something. And these are their like demons. Sort of, it happens. Oh, by the way, I recently watched this movie. Excuse me, Look Back. It's only an hour long, but you will cry in the end. But I also did cry in the beginning, where they were showing the montage of the artist. I think her name is Fujino, or something like that, and just it was basically a montage of her working, and you see this a lot, like in the beginning and in the end as well. And it just reminded me of our process, you know, the lives we live, and I really saw myself in that scene, because even the comments that this person was hearing, oh, like, when are you gonna grow up, like, and it does compared to other careers, it does feel kind of childish, right? The thing we're doing, the arts, it doesn't feel as serious or something. I don't know. Wait, why is it tilted? Let me just do this. Like, I see like it's sort of Control Shift T. Control Shift T. Oh, yeah. It just feels like we're being a bit childish. And one of the comments in the self commentary of Fujino was like, are we helping anyone by doing art? Like, it's so useless compared to other things. Like, she was talking to herself here, I believe. Like, it's not really a useful thing, but it does end. Well, I'm kind of spoiling the show, but we don't just, even though it's hard, I recommend you watch the anime, because I think it's a message for, you will really feel it if you are an artist. And because you do see scenes of them working on their manga, and even in the end, like, once she got professional, once she grew up or established, you can see her with her, like, I think she had like a Wacom. It looked like a Wacom, a tablet, and her hunched over, just working on her pages. So this one's by Loish, and it's sometimes it feels a little bit naive, right? Doing this sort of thing. Like, what are we I mean, we're not engineers, guys. We're not scientists. We're not doctors, but if there's something we can do, is we can make people happy. How about that, right? So we can't cure disease. I mean, we can make people goon. We can make people, I think it's a cultural thing. We're in the cultural side of the global society, though. Arts and culture, that's where we do our work. It may not be in the same usefulness, in the same category as like publishing scientific papers, doing that kind of thing, or being a soldier, right? Or a police officer, being a fireman or firewoman. Yeah. But I don't know. I recommend you just watch the show and just sort of associate, and just, you're gonna feel yourself there, and you may just cry. I cried a couple of times in the beginning, especially, and in the end, obviously. But yeah, so let's just continue. You know what? Maybe this is not the episode for that. I'm here to just explore the PureRef folder I have, or file I have here. But now these two things I believe are AI. It looks like it anyway. But I like it. I like the colors. I like the shapes. Now, yes, they're probably from some artist, but it doesn't matter because right now I want to just study and take away something. I mean, look at that hand, it's so freaky. Right? Like the way the shadows are done, the color choices. You want to just, again, thankfully some of you have agreed. One of you at least sort of understood me when I'm saying to separate the moral, ethical side of this whole AI thing with the technical, visual side, design side, the visual side. Because I think you can, for example, if this shows up in your feed, I mean, you can just ignore it. But for me, if I find something interesting in it, I'm gonna download it and see what I can take away from that image. But yeah, keep drawing like these people and be like Fujino. I think her name is Fujino. And yeah, now I'm kind of not depressed, but I'm feeling a bit sort of reflective right now because I'm talking about that anime. But I've shown this a little bit in the last art session I did. It's not in the art review, but I did talk about a little bit of this. So I'm gonna skip this whole part right here. So I guess I've talked long enough for this episode of the Sunday special here in the art review series, where I just ramble, do some commentary on the recent images I've for artwork that I've seen. And yeah, that's it. Hopefully you enjoy this episode, and keep drawing, keep painting, and yeah, it's what we do, guys. Like, what else are we gonna do? Do it for yourself, sure, but also do it for others. People do enjoy artwork, right? You can make people feel things, right? You can culture is part of the human experience. It's not just the rockets we make or the planes we fly or the systems we run. It's also this, like, those things are there to support. Those things are there to support this as well. Like, what's the point of having all of these tools, technology, if we're not gonna express ourselves, So don't be so guilty. And when I'm saying you, I also mean me, because sometimes it doesn't bother me too much, but sometimes I do get reminded that I'm kind of the odd one out, and I'm sure most of you feel this way. You artists out there, you're kind of the odd one out, maybe in your family, within your friend group, within your school, within your society, your community. And in general, like, we're kind of shunned, not shunned, but we're just, I don't know, kind of weird, considered weird. But we can produce some nice looking stuff, right? So keep doing your art, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.